Okay, hi, I'm back, and I'm here to talk about step 5 of the 12 steps adapted from Alcoholics Anonymous. And in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says that you will be amazed before you're halfway through. And so this is the step that will begin to really be amazed. If you could reach this degree of humility that's necessary to complete this step, which is to admit to God, to myself, and to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs, which I have outlined in step 4. And we have actually started on step 1 talking about these things, the powerlessness, the unmanageability. Then we brought it into step 2, talked about the insanity. In step 3, we talked about what the problem really is that I don't trust God. And so my belief in God and coming to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And now in step 4, we have written down some pretty big chunks of self-truth. And if you've been really honest and willing and open-minded up until this point, hopefully everything is in that inventory. This is where I talk about diving deep. What's the point of doing this work if you're not going to dive deep and go after everything that's been holding you back? This is not the time for secrets. This is not the time to be comparing yourself to other people. This is not the time to think, I wonder what someone's going to think about me if they knew these things about me. I will tell you, after many decades of listening to Fifth Steps, that there is nothing new under the sun when it comes to certainly alcoholism, drug addiction, a lot of other kinds of addictions, but there's not much new under the sun when it comes to people's fears and worries and concerns and pasts. There's really not that much different. It's different details, but the stories are always kind of the same. 100 kinds of form of fear, as you saw in the fear prompt sheet that we had in the 4th step on the fear inventory. Resentment's number 1 offender. That's what Alcoholics Anonymous says. For alcoholics, that resentment is a number 1 offender. So we have to take care of that. So step 5. My experience with step 5 is a lot of the times I would take people out for the day and would take a drive and just drive around aimlessly wherever I was living and just let them talk. So you need to have somebody that you feel comfortable with, that you feel safe with, that you feel like is not going to be judging or criticizing you. So if you're not in a 12-step program and you don't have a sponsor taking you through these steps, this is the place where maybe you have a therapist that you can talk to, maybe a priest or a deacon or someone who you feel like in a religious institution that you go to, somebody that you trust in your family, friends. Hopefully they're not on the list. And certainly I have also included myself to be available to talk to people. The one thing I have is the ability to keep a confidence. So if you would like to work with me, the description down below, if you click on the see more, show more box or a line right after the description down below, there's more information down there, how you can contact me. But regardless, this is really important to talk to someone. I have to reach that degree of humility that it's going to get it out of my head. Now it's on paper. And people will say, well, why can't I just talk about it with God? Well, a sick mind can't heal a sick mind. So me talking to myself and talking to God, it's not going to do it. I have to be able to say it out loud. But with that comes this incredible release and relief about being able to say it, and it takes a lot of the power out of it when you say things out loud. And you start to hear things outside of your head. It's a completely different experience. And more often than not, you start to have a little bit more compassion for yourself. Listening to yourself say these things is, again, it's not the end of the world, a lot of these things. It's just that they've been trapped in my ego for a long time, and I've used them to beat myself up or to make myself feel superior, either way. But the relief that comes over people's faces as I'm, doing this stuff with them is, really amazing. It's like a lightness that comes over them. You feel such a, like you can take a deep breath. You said something out loud that you've been carrying around for a long time. And you realize that you're not a bad person. Most of the times we're just sick, making bad decisions, especially when it comes to alcoholism. I'm not in my right mind. I've been insane. And we can be insane with a lot of things, with fear, with jealousy, envy, whatever. So, 5th step, find someone that you feel comfortable talking to, and then spend a few hours. Now, I used to take almost a whole day to do this, and we would go through the whole 5th step and right into the 6th and 7th. Now, these are coronavirus days, and as it turns out, I was a little concerned that this was going to impede my ability to take people through the 5th step. but I have been very pleasantly surprised and realized that doing the fifth step over Zoom meetings, face-to-face online, has been really powerful. I do them in sessions of 3, maybe 4, depends. The resentment inventory, the fear inventory, and then the sex and harms, and then the assets and relationships all at one time. And it's been incredibly satisfying for them too. In fact, I asked the people that I did it with, how was that for you? And they were just delighted. So it's the same outcome. I'm pretty sure when it was designed and the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous talked about, how to work the steps, it never occurred to them something like this would have to happen. But I'm sure there's been times when people have had to break it up into different sessions. But for me, it's been really terrific, which is why I'm able to offer myself to be able to do it with people if they would like to work with me. Not in a sponsoring kind of a setup, not in a 12-step kind of a setup, but just as someone who wants to work these steps and needs somebody to talk to and needs somebody who's got I have a lot of experience with these. So the thing that happens is that I start to feel light. I start to feel like, wow, I could take a deep breath. These things don't have the power over me that they used to have. And the most important thing is in that last column, especially in the resentment column, we start to see the pattern. I don't have to say anything. I'm not here to give you feedback, although a lot of the times I can say, yeah, I did that too, which makes us feel good that there's other people that have done this too. We're not so alone. It helps me break through some of that loneliness that I've felt being trapped this way in my head of all the horrible, terrible things that I think I did, to find out that everybody has done these things. And I'm not that horrible and terrible, and that there really is a use for me, a purpose for me. I have reason to be here, and now I have a better chance of finding out what that was, especially when I have a relationship with God that's opening up to a brave new world, really, literally, brave new world. So the fifth step, we go through the inventories, and now instead of going up and down, we're going across, and we're going to read. We're going to take the first name and go straight across. And you want to talk about how did it affect your ambition, your pocketbook, your sense of security, all of those things that we checked off, and where was I to blame, and why do I feel like I was to blame? And this is not to beat ourselves up, but this is where you start to see the pattern of the common denominator in all of these resentments and fears and everything. It's me, and if we've done that step 3B, the part where you say the sick man prayer that's in Alcoholics Anonymous book, if you say that about asking God to remove the person, place, or thing that I have the resentment toward and take it out of the picture so that it can, put the spotlight on me, then we find out the best part of that is that if I'm blaming everybody else, then I'm never going to be able to get to a solution. But when I finally get to the place where I can see my part in my experience, that's great news, you guys. That is great news, because now I can do something about it. And now I have a higher power. I have a manager for my life that I can ask for help from. So this is good news. And at the end of the fifth step, you have really deposited a lot of stuff out into the open and offered it to God, and have given up trying to take control, run your life, and now you're finally free. And so there's more work to be done, make no mistake, but this is a huge step, and this is a brilliant step, and this is a wonderful opportunity for you to feel like you're a part of the human race, that you're just like everybody else, and that you get to come along and join us, as they say in the big book of AA, come along and join us on the happy road of destiny. We are walking hand in hand together in the sunlight of the Spirit. We are all in this together, and when you feel that, this is not some happy horse shit either, by the way. I'm talking about the real feeling of security, of presence, and I'm keeping my head where my feet are, the ability to take a deep breath and feel the joy and not be captive by fear and worry and anxiety all the time. It's a great freedom here. This is a really powerful step, and this isn't even all of it. It just keeps getting better from here. But trust me, really important step. So this is it. The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the AA 12 and 12, the Al-Anon literature. You can get your hand on anything. You can go online and read about the fifth step. You can read about any of the steps online. And it's not just in conjunction with addiction, it's just, this is the problem. It's the problem. What goes on up here is my problem. And so now there is help at hand. And it's only up to me to be open-minded and willing and honest. And this is the place to be honest. So I hope that you find what I have found in this step and what countless others have found in this step, this freedom, this unbelievable ability to take a deep breath and know that, wow, this is just going to keep getting better. It's just going to keep getting better. So stick with me. And if you need me, get in touch with me. We'll work together. And I am so grateful that you've come along this far, because I hope that you have found some relief already and some excitement and even exhilaration about a new way of living, because this is where really the fun starts. Although I did say in step 3, sit down and hold on, because your life is about to take off in ways that you could not have imagined. And now that you've swept the deck, now we're going to start looking at some of the defects that we keep using over and over to get back into the same places and the same patterns that we've worked on just here in the 5th step. And so step 6 is where we're going to address that. But there's a solution for that too. You're not alone anymore. You have a great manager that you picked up in the 3rd step, and you have other people that are walking this path. So we're going to do some Zoom calls, and we're going to do some meetings online. And if you want to join this community, I would be happy to have you along. I'm still trying to pull all that together, and the cards and the things that I said that I was going to do, but I have to work at the same time. So slowly but surely, I'm getting through these steps, and I look forward to meeting up with you at some point, whether online or in person. So I hope you have a great, wonderful, blessed experience with the 5th step, based on the 5th step of Alcoholics Anonymous from the 12 steps. All right, talk to you later. Bye.